Hello, language teachers and learners. I want to share with you a really easy way that you can build synonyms, both for yourself and for your students if you have them. This is a poem by the Roman elegist Sulpicia, and I'm just going to show an example. So basically, I took the poem and I printed it out in pretty big font and in gray. And the gray is because it'll be a little bit easier for me to be able to write over it and still be seen. So I'm going to start with this sentence, for example. So sed pescase juvat. So I'm now looking for all the underlined words, I'm going to look for a synonym in the word bank. So I'm looking for a word that means the same thing as said, and I see ot. So I'm going to write ot. Ot pescase juvat. And next, I'm going to look at vultus componere famae tidet. Vultus. So I don't necessarily know right off the top of my head what case that would be until I keep reading, but I see tidet, and tidet is definitely a synonym, or at least closest in terms of all of our options. It's pretty similar to displacet. It's boring or it's annoying. Displacet. And vultus. Okay, so it seems as if vultus would be receiving the action of displacet, and so I'm assuming that facies is going to be accusative. So I'm going to write faciem. So I've got to make these little changes, right? I'm grabbing a few of these that I know. Sorry, oops, I'm trying to underline. Okay, and then also we have ot, got facies, and we've got displacet. And then in the very last bit, we have cum digno digna fuisse ferar. And digna definitely is a synonym for merens, worthy or deserving. So you may notice that some of these words, like ot, they don't change. So I can just drop them in as is. If you wanted to make it kind of easier on yourself or your students, your word bank could already include words that are declined or conjugated so that they can just easily be inserted. But if you want a little more of a challenge, you could have just the nominatives or just the infinitives at the bottom. And then that way they kind of have to do a little bit of shifting in order for it to work. This obviously would have some impacts on meter, so it's not necessarily done as a way to be able to preserve the original rhythm of the poem, but it's a really great way to be able to just have that flexibility and not necessarily have to always go back into English to be able to prove that you know Latin. So you can have students kind of debate which ones that they like most, and they could also check in groups to be able to see how they do. I would probably not recommend this as a major assessment. I think it's a little stressful for students if they aren't feeling confident about either the word that needs to be replaced or its replacement. But I think it's a really good thing to do either as a warm-up at the beginning of class or in small groups, or maybe for like a low stakes sort of like small quiz at the end of the week. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed that, and it's pretty fun to do, honestly. So I would recommend printing it out for yourself if you're a teacher. You can also use this with other languages for sure. So feel free to test it out in your many tongues. Alrighty, walete!